Hey, what's up, people? Alright, it's that time again. Talk about hockey. Because hockey season, playoff season, duck season, rabbit season, Except in this case, I guess hockey season and playoff season are kind of the same thing. Anyway, alright, Western Conference Finals, game number 6. Dallas at Edmonton. Edmonton does lead the series 3-2. This was yesterday, June 2nd, for posterity's sake. Anyway, first period with 15:43 on the clock, so about 4 minutes into the game. Edmonton on the power play scores a goal from McDavid. I have it in my notes just for the record. He burns 2 defensemen and takes it to the net. It's a very McDavid goal. There was a commercial that ran during the regular season this year. For the NHL, promoting itself because sports do that. At least the NHL does. Which is fine. I have no issues with it. There's actually a really good line in it, though, talking about kind of the whole point of the commercial is like, is hockey better than ever? And pointing certain things out, blah, 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 with certain star player, just stuff. One of the lines in there is Connor McDavid doing McDavid-y things, yes. And the show highlight that's actually pretty similar to this goal, and I'm sure this goal, being as important as it was in the Western Conference Final, Game 6, we're going to see this one for a while, if not, I wouldn't say the rest of his career, but probably. It was very pretty. Even broadcast referenced it as like, yeah, that's something you see in video games, not necessarily in the NHL. And I can think of a euphemism that would be used that I'm not going to go into details of. Just say it involves a certain piece of hockey equipment that is hanging from the rafters after what McDavid did to 2 defensemen. That would be a Mickeyism from Mickey Redmond, color guy in Detroit. If you don't know him, well, if you know, you know. I'll leave it at that. Legend, though. Easily go in the Hockey Hall of Fame for broadcasting. Guarantee it. Anyway, yeah. So, we could spend the next 5 minutes talking about how amazing that McDavid goal was, and the effort, and the talent, and all that junk. And, I mean, it'd be one thing if it was late in the game, and like, Dallas is tired, blah, blah, blah. This was 4 minutes into the period, so everyone had fresh legs, or as fresh as they were going to be. And boy, wow, yeah. I haven't, since the initial broadcast and replay, I haven't gone back and watched it again. I will at some point. There's actually 2 moments in this game I need to take a look at again, because one of them's in the thumbnail. We'll get to that later. Anyway. Alright. So, with the very McDavid, David and me. I'm thinking of a Bodie McBoatface joke to make here with McDavid's name, but it's not coming to me. Anyway, McDavid gets his McDavid goal, which he does, and we're 1-0 Edmonton. And then, 4 minutes and 48 seconds left on the clock. So, the opposite end of the period this time. About 5 minutes left. Edmonton gets a second power play goal. From Zach Hyman. Again, leads the league in goals. It leads the playoffs in goals at this point, which is the league postseason. Anyway, I believe this is number 14 or 15, I forget. I looked at the stats a little earlier. And of course, that pass to set that goal up came from Connor McDavid, who, yes, I looked that up earlier too, does lead the playoffs in points. Actually, generally, I think the top 4 on that list are all Edmonton Oilers that lead in points. Go figure. McDavid's got 26 assists, something like that. I don't want to get too into detail because I might spoil the rest of this game. Anyway, so with that, it's 2-0 Edmonton. Ending the first period. We get into the second period, and again, not for this game, but for... I've gotten to this joke at least twice within the last, I think, week, so I'm happy. Second period, no goals. Although I do have a note here that says, all the shots for Dallas, which is funny because it felt like that. But this is the one time where I actually wanted to consult like the box score, at least the immediate box score, because shot totals get audited a day later-ish. They're probably different now, but either way, it's ironic that note's there because the second period was actually the period, all three of them, and Dallas had the least amount of shots, but technically, of the three periods, for them, their fewest shots was actually in the second. I guess it's just their quality chance. And again, there's just chances. But yeah, all around, I think Edmonton, between their defense and Skinner, was very much on point. So, no goals for Dallas in the second period. So, we go into the third period. Still a 2-0 Edmonton game. And yeah, I have just a slight note here. There's a non-scoring note, which is rare, I know. Usually it's about goaltending if it's not about scoring. This one is about passing. Because at about the 18-minute mark, I don't have the exact time here, but I do have a note. Because this is what I'm going to go pull for the thumbnail you'll have already seen by now. Anyway, there's this amazing pass through the neutral zone. I think it actually started in the defensive zone, between the circles and the blue line. I gotta look up who. I meant to do it before the video so I could give credit where credit's due, but I'll just talk about it later on. Anyway, yeah, I forgot who initiated the pass, but it was what you would technically consider a saucer pass because it goes above the ice. So if you consider it a saucer pass, technically, but it was a saucer pass about 4 feet in the air, and pretty much from, I said, like the top of the defensive zone, maybe top of the circle, to at least center ice, maybe just past it. Again, I gotta look at the replay again for position and distance, and this is gonna be broken down by people, I'm sure, in other videos have already broken this down. Yeah, ridiculous, like 3.5 feet off the ice at its apex, probably. Saucer pass that is knocked down perfectly at about, the camera angle I saw looked about waist height or so, so I'm guessing kind of 3.5 feet range-ish. That's what it looked like, at least from the angle I saw on the replay. By Draisaitl. Draisaitl intercepts it. I mean, again, the pass is beautiful. I wish I had marked down. I'm going to go look later to see. I'm assuming it was a defenseman that made that pass. But yeah, what a ridiculous pass. And I'm going to pull Draisaitl batting it down out of the air. Again, at speed, to his feet to skate with it. It was nuts. That is just incredible display of skill. Like kind of like the McDavid goal we saw in the first period, of just like, wow, this was honestly to me more impressive, just because we've seen just plenty of highlight reels of years of McDavid scoring those kind of McDavid goals where he just undresses people and walks around them, figuratively undresses them, Mickeyisms. Anyway. Yeah, that was a ridiculous pass. Had it led to a goal, the highlight we played for forever. But anyway, it didn't. But it was just amazing. I've obviously grown up a Detroit fan for decades. I've seen a lot of ridiculous stretch passing. I can only imagine had Nicklas Lidstrom played more of his career before we had the 2-line pass rule negated and gone with, to open up to help counter the neutral zone trap a bit more, because man, that's a pass that wouldn't have existed 30 years ago was this pass, because you wouldn't even try it because it would be considered a 2-line pass, because pretty sure it went again from about top of the circle to just past the center line where Draisaitl got it at. It's nuts. That's from memory. My memory could be wrong. I could be overinflating it. I'm not overinflating, though. Trust me. If anything, I'm underselling how great this was. So, anyway, I'll stop rambling about a pass that didn't lead to anything other than, wow, did that look cool. So, back to the game. With 10 minutes and 42 seconds remaining on the clock. Because I will say that slightly before this, maybe about a minute before this, I was starting to get that feeling. Like, you honestly, to the start of the third period, to about this timestamp I have, it really felt like, okay, Edmonton is a team of destiny this year. They are going to the Stanley Cup final. And what they do there, we'll see. But you could feel it in the air, in the building. I mean, Edmonton was playing at home. And boy, what a game to be at in person. I can only imagine. Anyway, with 10:42 remaining in the third period, Dallas makes it a game. Well, it was already a game, but you know what I mean. A 1-goal game. They get a goal from Marchment. It was a nice pass from behind the net from Tyler Seguin. That actually, I think, because again, the play unfolded kind of weird. Skinner was partially out of position, out of net, and kind of coming to get back into position when Seguin made the pass. He wasn't trying to deflect it off of Skinner at all, but he was definitely trying to, I think, pass to Marchment, who was coming in hot on the rush, very, very hot on the rush, very fast. Seguin was trying to hit him on the tape at speed, which he did, even though the puck looks like I think Skinner partially changed direction on Skinner. It worked though, because it still ended up on Marchment's stick, and he got the shot off before he went into Skinner and the net. Yeah. It was one of those, it happened so quickly kind of moments of like, they get the pass and the shot before because he ran in full speed into, I mean, he didn't hit Ottinger as much as he hit the net, or Ottinger, sorry, Skinner. So used to Edmonton scoring in this game so far, but yeah. I know which teams people play for, it's okay. Yeah, no, he didn't really catch Skinner like that directly. Enough to where, like, I was, again, seeing it in real time. I didn't write anything down yet because I'm like, that may go to review. Because, in real time, it's hard to tell if there was contact before the puck was moved. All the intricacy rules of the goalie interference, which, as we've seen in these playoffs, can be nebulous at times. So, but they show the replay on the broadcast, and it's pretty clear from the initial replay. Like, nope, Seguin made that great pass through the crease, or almost through Skinner. Although I think he got a piece of it. I have to look at it again. Not intentional piece of it. He was just trying to get back in position, and I think potentially avoid the puck deflecting off him because he knew it was a pass. Probably knew there was a late man coming on the rush. That didn't matter. It was a nice, clean pass. Yeah, pass through the crease, basically. We talk about cross crease pass. This was through the crease, like at an angle, through and up and out of the crease, and then back into the net to Marchment, who was coming at full speed. By the way, the only thing that stopped him was when he hit the net. Literally, not hit the net with the puck, which he did. He scored, and then about a 10th or 20th of a second later, collided with said net. So yeah, that's what stopped him. Yeah. So, sorry, excuse my cough. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, that's so with about 10.5 minutes left, we have a hockey game. I mean, officially, in terms of a 1-goal game, and we go to a second. 2 pages of notes. I know for one game is rare. I tell you something, it's exciting. It was a great game. Yeah. So anyway, Dallas has some life now, some chance. I mean, they had that life all game. It's just this is an elimination game for them, but they're a goal away now from tying it, and definitely feels possible. Seems unlikely, but possible, plausible. Anyway, my next note in the third period, you'll note by the timestamp, not a really good sign for Dallas. At 2:17, they pull Ottinger on the play. They didn't get lucky because at 2:10, 7 seconds later after that, they're able to get stoppage and a face-off in Edmonton's zone, 5-on-6. And I have it here in my notes. Really great press and pressure by Dallas at the end there. Yeah, made it really exciting last 2 minutes of the game to watch. And man, Dallas tried. They really did. They had such a long possession. Even when near the end, one time Edmonton did manage to get out of the zone, they didn't quite get the icing. So, it was like really well defended by Edmonton, good goaltending by Skinner. But again, great effort by Dallas, just not enough to get there and tie it to force the overtime. So yeah, and eventually as anticlimactic as usual, the clock ticks. No, it didn't tick down in the scrum, but there was a scrum kind of late. And it's like, don't end it like this. Just get a couple more chances, which they did. Again, it was really good effort by Dallas. I want to emphasize that because they deserve it. The whole team deserves credit. I think a lot more than people gave them. So, and it'll be interesting off season for them too. And older players, we'll see if they're coming back, but that's a whole other discussion for later. Let's talk about the end of the game because again, I said they just couldn't quite get over the hump there at the end. So, final score is 2-1 Edmonton, and they ended up winning the series 4-2. I forgot to get my brackets out. I guess I'll have to do that for the Stanley Cup preview. This one I know I called correctly. See, I only had 2 picks. I remember what they were, but I know my brackets are around here somewhere. I keep them safe because I'm gonna hang on to them for posterity. Because I remember I never actually made brackets before or tried to predict brackets, so it was a fun first time experience. And hey, you know what? This one I got right because I did say be Edmonton or Dallas in 6 games. So I think I'm pretty sure I said 6, not 5. I know I said that New York would beat Florida in 6. I was wrong about the teams, right about the number of games. I also thought this would be a 6-game series. I know I predicted Edmonton because ever since my initial bracket pick, and then the NHL did let you do a second chance pick after the first round, so you can kind of readjust your brackets based on the first round results. But no, from the very first bracket, like before any playoff games are played, I did predict Edmonton to come out of the West to play in the finals. Stanley Cup final. So, I was half right because my Eastern pick was nowhere close. They got knocked out in the first round. If you've seen my videos, you'll know I'm not going to link to them because we don't need to discuss how wrong I was. We'll do that later on because we'll see how right I possibly am. Because, yes, we will have a Edmonton Oilers versus Florida Panthers Stanley Cup final in 2024. So there you go. Yeah, very interesting. I think Florida's going to be a very dangerous team. They went to the final last year and lost, and I talked about this last video when they clinched their Stanley Cup final spot. I talked about this at length because I'm not going to repeat those points. I'll link that video over here. I point to the wrong corner because it's backwards. I know enough better with the thing. Yeah. I'll put it up there in the end card. You'll know where it is. The Game 6 of the East, I already kind of discussed all of the Florida things. So, yeah. One little interesting stat, though, from this game that they brought up, I think, in the post-game coverage. And this is the one time I actually kind of unofficially pulled up the rough box scores from... Well, they always audit shot totals later on, so they're never exact, but... at the time, and this was post game, so I think they were roughly official, and I double checking them again too, just to make sure it stayed the same. Edmonton only had a total of 10 shots on goal this entire game. I believe they got outshot 35-10 by Dallas. And like I said, ironically, as the second period where Dallas had all the shots, I think they had the fewest. Dallas had 12 in the first, 9 in the second, and 14 in the third. Felt like they had more than 14 in the third. Felt like they had more than 14 in the last couple minutes of the game when they were had Ottendorf pulled and were pressing for that tying goal, but perception. But anyway, Edmonton's 10 shots is a new record. I forget exactly what they said. I just heard it was a new NHL record and started taking note, because whenever records are broken or new things happen, I always like to make note of them for history's sake. But yes, 10 shots on goal, I believe, is the fewest. It's either, I'm pretty sure it's for a winning team in the Stanley Cup playoffs. If it's not that, like fewest shots for a team that won the game, being 10. If not, it's the record for the fewest shots for a winning team in a series clinching game. That may be the caveat asterisk or something, but I think it may be just as straight up clear as, oh no, 10 shots is the fewest number of shots for a team that's ever won a playoff game. Since they've been recording shot totals, at least, which has not been the entire 100+ year history of the league. Or much longer than that. The actual history of the NHA before then, a long time. NHL only acknowledges from a certain time forward. There's other times for videos about that, or you can go look at some of the Hockey Guys historical videos, which are amazing. I highly recommend them. Anyway, we're over 20 minutes. I'm still talking about this game. Not surprised though. Great game. Probably, I don't know if it's my absolute favorite game of the playoffs so far, but it's up there. It's really, really fun series to watch. No offense to New York or Florida, but I really enjoyed the Western Conference Final a lot more than the East. They're both good. They're both good series. It's just, I don't know, like Dallas and Edmonton better as teams. I like the players they got and what they're doing, and I don't know. So, and again, I don't really have any rooting interest in the finals. That's normally the case. I mean, unless the Red Wings are playing, I have no emotional attachment per se. But yeah, I'm definitely pulling for Edmonton, I think. And there are reasons for that I can explain later on. But at this point now, too, the entirety of Canada is pulling for Edmonton. So yeah, you got about 10 million fans behind you, Oilers. No pressure. Because Canada has not won the Stanley Cup since 1993 when Montreal did it. And of course, we all know Edmonton hasn't won a cup since 1990, the one they got without Gretzky. So, yeah. And like I said, I'll talk more. I will do a preview video about the Edmonton Florida matchups. I don't want to go into too much detail, but boy, that's gonna be a fun series. Really is. I know no matter of these final 4 teams that we had left, Edmonton, Dallas, New York, and Florida, like it's gonna be a good final, no matter what combination of those meet up. Edmonton, Florida is gonna be really interesting. So, anyway, Game 1 of your 2024. Wow, said that really weird. I'm not gonna edit it out. Just pretend I'm doing another take. That's how it works for an actor. So, your first game of your Stanley Cup Finals starts June 8th, this Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern start time on that one. So, that is from when I'm recording this Monday morning. That is 5 days from now. There's 5 days with no hockey. That is quite a break. Actually comparable to the All-Star break. Maybe slightly less, but close. It'll be interesting, like from a perspective of how it affects the game. Especially Edmonton. Both series, obviously, when you're this deep in the playoffs, people are hurt. We already know, like with Dallas, we'll find out probably later today how bad Tanev's foot was, because he missed Game 5 with an injury, or hurt, not injured. Difference in the playoffs. But he had been seen after Game 4. He'd been seen, not at practice, not on the ice, still around with the team with one of those like braces on his foot, like the boot thing. He didn't look good. So once that got out, it's kind of assumed like, well, he's probably done for the series, if not the, or at least that series, because we knew the scheduling, so we knew there could be a couple day break before the Stanley Cup Finals will start. But no, Tanev shows up on the ice in Game 6. That surprised a lot of people, myself included, but he has been a core, huge part of that team's defense, and he's he was an underrated player. I think the secret's out now about Tanev for people that hadn't been paying attention. I know people have been paying attention, teams he's been on, a couple of them now over the years. They know, fans of those teams know how good Tanev is. Very underrated player. I would say, I'll have to make a list of players I feel are underrated. I know it's going to be Red Wings heavy. I'll limit it. It won't be. There's one player in the Red Wings I'll name. It's like, oh, this player is definitely underrated. Even though he gets attention locally somewhat, even locally, I think he's still kind of underrated. That's neither here nor there. We're going on almost a half hour. I gotta shut up and finish this long upload. I'm always concerned about that. It takes twice as long. Way more longer. Yeah, that's right. That's a phrase now. Clearly, I'm awake before I started this one. Not the very first thing I did today. Not at all. It actually isn't. I went to the bathroom first, clearly. I don't know how that's actually... How is that clear that I went to the bathroom? That's a weird phrase. See? Now I'm starting to look at how little sense I'm making. I'm just looking over the rest of my notes for anything relevant worth mentioning. Because that second page of notes is mostly just about the wind down of the third and all that junk. And the 10 shots that Edmonton had when they won and whatnot. And I was also just kind of writing out the schedule. Not the exact schedule by dates. But just, okay, I'm like, okay, if Florida's got home ice, I want to work out just to see what's going to be what. Obviously, yeah, Florida does have home ice advantage, so it's officially an Edmonton at Florida matchup. Or Edmonton v. Florida, whatever you want to phrase it. Because, yeah, the first 2 games will be done at Sunrise, then games 3 and 4 will be in Edmonton. And then if necessary, which there's very few things I feel pretty confident about. This will not be a sweep by either team. I'll say that. Watch me be wrong. But anyway, hopefully not. That's the only not as a Wings fan, I'll say disappointment. The only odd ending to the Red Wings back-to-back cups in 97-98 was they were kind of anticlimactic Stanley Cup finals. After what they went through to get to those finals, they ended up in sweeps. So it's like, well, yeah. So, but I don't think that's not going to be the case this year. Some years it is the case where it feels like one of those conference finals was the real Stanley Cup final because it was the best matchup and the closest games. And then the finals turns into a blowout. That has happened before. I don't think it's going to happen this year. Really don't. Anyway. Again, I always look at... I did this because I'm just... I'm a visual person, so I just need to write things out just to process. Or just to process it better and think about it. And to look at it again. So, because I always said... the biggest critical games in a 7-game series, to me... Game 3, Game 5, if there is one, and then Game 7, obviously. Kind of goes without saying. But, Game 3 in Edmonton, and we just, if you saw the broadcast, or even maybe the highlights, I don't know how much it's included, they talked to McDavid after the game, and you can still hear the crowd in the arena, and as he said, it's the loudest he's ever heard that building. And he's talking about the last 2 or 3 minutes of that game, that last couple minutes when Dallas has Ottinger pulled and they're pressing to get that tying goal. That's when the crowd was way into it and chanting for the team and the Oilers, and it was amazing to watch. And again, some of the post-game press stuff you would see, you could still hear the crowd chanting. They were still there. Because, it's a long post-game because you got to do the trophy presentation. Well, handshakes, trophy. the handshakes always happen in a series, so it adds more time to kind of the ending of a game. Plus, when you have a close 1-goal game and no one's leaving, especially when the home team's winning, yeah, it was something else. It was something to see. Not that I don't think home ice matters that much in the playoffs, particularly. It matters more so in the regular season. Plus, again, it really affects kind of just long change in the side of the ice. But it's a minor thing. But yeah. No, I was mostly curious. Again, if there is a game 5 is typically I think 79 something percent of the time decides who wins the series. We did see one of the outliers this year, though. I think with the Vancouver Colorado series, because Vancouver won Game 5 of that series and then lost. Or wait, other way around. Anyway, I'm trying to remember things that happened a couple weeks ago at this point. I've been very busy, so that's why I have notes. I don't retain any of this stuff. Just once the video's made, poof, it's gone. I have to watch it later to even remember. Anyway, yeah, Game 5 will be in Florida. There will be at least a Game 5, I guarantee it. And yes, so Game 6 in Edmonton, and then if and when there likely is a Game 7 possibly in that series, possibly overtime, I don't know. I was chatting with a couple of friends on Discord. I know because another friend of mine we were just chatting about the result, because now we know the finals, and we're talking about something. And I did boldly I did point out to people, like I did earlier, that, yeah, I kind of picked Edmonton to win the Western Conference in my pre-playoff bracket pick. I actually picked them to win the Stanley Cup, so I'm sticking with that prediction. By the way, I'll say it now, and I'll tell you what I told my friends some friends of mine last night. I'm sticking with that prediction that Edmonton will win the Cup this year with this team, and I'm gonna predict even more so. I'm gonna go further on that one, not like game by game, but 7-game series. And Edmonton will win it in overtime. So who knows? I always hope that. You always want a Stanley Cup final that goes to Game 7 that then goes to overtime. Because rarely ever see it. I think in the history of the league, it's very few, probably less than 5. Probably in one hand you could hold those times it's happened. So you'd have to look it up, though. I'd be curious to do the research on that and just check. It's not happened very often. The closest I've seen in recent memory that I remember, it could have happened sometime in the last 10-something years. I wasn't paying that much attention. The 2009 finals, the rematch, Detroit and Pittsburgh, that Game 7 was a 1-goal game where, much like Dallas trying to press at the end to score a goal to go to overtime, that's what Detroit was doing. So that was close. There's the only play of that entire series that I still remember. It's still burnt into my brain. Is Lindstrom hitting the post with about 2 seconds on the clock. And that was like a low shot through traffic. Like Fleury never saw it. So, half an inch the other direction. That's a tie game going overtime. Doesn't mean Detroit's going to win it, but it would have been an overtime in a Game 7 Stanley Cup final. So that's what I want. That's what all hockey fans want. Even hockey players somewhat. I'm sure Gretzky or anyone else talk about it. That's always the fantasy you have as a kid. It's always, Game 7 Stanley Cup final, blah, blah, blah. That's always the most ridiculous thing. So we've seen a lot of overtimes already this playoff. I'm sure somewhere someone's throwing together the stats to see what the record is for number of overtimes for a playoff, like a playoff run for a year. This might be close. Feels like there's been a lot. So I would not be surprised at all, Edmonton, Florida, if we see a couple. And one of those again might be in a Game 7. So we'll see. That is my prediction. Edmonton will beat Florida in 7 games. So we'll see. And with that, I'm really going to stop because we've gone on for 35 minutes talking about hockey while I'm wearing a Batman shirt. So, Batman does what Batman wants. Not that I'm Batman. But, as many of you know, if you pay really close attention, And I do mean really close attention to all these videos. You'll know this pillow, this little towel here from the 20 years in the wings, secretly hiding my Batman pillow. So always be yourself, unless you can be Batman. Then be Batman. It's kind of the obvious thing. Kind of like in Ghostbusters. Like, if someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes. And with that, I'll let you go. And, yeah, I got a lot of work to do in the next 5 days. I want to try and have some kind of temporary new set ready for the Stanley Cup Finals. Because it's fancy time. So, I got a couple of videos to edit, so you may not see me live recording. I'm going to do a preview video of the series, kind of talking about the matchup. That'll be short, though, compared to this, please. Yeah, so. Between now and then, you will see me again, but you'll see stuff I've already shot either 2 weeks ago or last week. I got to edit and put up some outdoor equipment stuff. And then, of course, Saturday is the day of the final start. It's also Doctor Who Day. Great. So, I get to double up. Oh boy. Well, actually, the game's Saturday night, so the Doctor Who video will come out Saturday afternoon. So, I won't really have to double up that day. But my coverage for the finals will probably be a little different. Again, aside from just this. So, enjoy. Again, there'll probably be one more video where I do preview the matchups. So, you might see this again, you might not. It may be a set in progress building. Because I really want to have something ready in time for the finals, and I've made very little progress because of reasons of other things we go into another video talking about video games. And a really funny thing I did, just the title alone is going to get some clicks, and it's not clickbait either. It's just a great little short essay on talking about some video game stuff, which I think will be really fun and enjoyable. So stay tuned for that later on, probably in the postseason or shortly after the cup was awarded. I'll probably get into that. Again, once the set is put together, and there'll be a lot more stuff. It'll be a way easier production. You won't have these weird lighting issues and some occasional. A lot of issues will be fixed, especially the way I even make videos and process them. So, anyway, I really will shut up now. I've been trying to do that for the last 20 minutes. Whoops. But hey, you know what? Sometimes this happens. That's what this channel is for. Exactly this kind of thing. So anyway, I gotta run because I gotta start uploading this thing because I got another appointment to get to this morning. I'm a busy person. So anyway, yep. So anyway, don't play a drinking game based on that word for this video, because by now you'd be in bad shape. Anyway, there's the last one. All right. Peace, everyone.